The Denver Broncos could get two of the biggest steals in the entire NFL draft, and I am thrilled to be seeing that the Denver Broncos are visiting with these two players, and it is super exciting to be a Denver Broncos fan right now, as these guys have huge potential in the NFL. The first person I'm talking about is Uar Bernard. This guy had an insane combine. He is one of the 13 international players in the international program for the NFL, and these were his combine stats: a 4.63 40-yard dash, a 39 jump vertical, and 10-10 broad jump. Now, you may not know what those numbers mean, but considering he is going to be a defensive tackle, these are insane stats. Now, the Denver Post was writing about Uar Bernard and somebody else that we're going to talk about later in this video, and Josh Wenu, and they were describing his athleticism as a defensive tackle. And the way they describe this is a defensive tackle with a tight end's straight line speed, like Kyle Pitts and how fast he is going vertical, and Aaron Gordon's vertical leap. Denver Nuggets power forward who is known for slam dunking. Yes, a defensive tackle getting the type of height where he could dunk a basketball, similar to like a Myles Garrett. This would be appealing as a draft sleeper in any given cycle, but the Broncos' interest in Bernard is particularly notable given their positioning this April. Okay, so the organization currently holds the very last two picks in the draft, in number 256 and 257, after some compensatory picks. And now, ever since the NFL draft started being reviewed, and the 7-round era, since it began in 1994, no team has picked back-to-back in the final two picks, but the Denver Broncos could be the first team to do that if we're looking at the Broncos picks here. Now, Uar Bernard is not projected to be a top-tier pick, and there's a clear and obvious reason for this, and one that many of you may just click off the video after I say it, but I think that there's a reason the Broncos should go get this guy. Okay, first of all, the reason he's going to fall to Denver Broncos at pick 256, 257, 246, potentially, is he has never played a down of football in his life, but he was still selected of one of 13 players to join the program based on his raw athleticism. He is an insane athlete and a guy that can definitely make an impact with the right coaching around him. And tell me the Denver Broncos wouldn't have the best coaching possible around him based on the defensive line and the defensive linemen that have produced with the Denver Broncos over the years and been developed over the years. He could learn a lot from the defensive line coaches, from the current defensive lineman on the team, and Zach Allen. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't go get this freakish athlete to at least make plays on special teams, okay? Now, he ran numbers for the Nigerian, basically their version of the combine, and when they translated it to what the NFL's version is and their scores, he ranked first in athleticism score with a 96 and raw ATH score of also 10, which is 10 out of 10, first. So compared to the defensive tackles in his draft class since 2003, he's ranked first in both of those categories, and he has never played it down in football. This guy is an athlete. I would love for the Denver Broncos to take a swing on him. Now, defensive tackle may not be the biggest position of need, but it is a position of need after losing John Franklin Myers in free agency. Now, there are other guys that have been growing behind the scenes that could definitely stack up and start making a move, but there is no reason that we can't be all in on Uar Bernard, okay? He had an insane combine. He's going to be a late round draft pick anyway, so it can't hurt to see this guy's potential. I mean, he showed up to his combine without shoes. This is a guy that is dedicated. He wants this. He wants this very badly, and he is a raw athlete, raw talent, a guy that can easily be developed. I would love to get a guy like this. He is a freakish athlete, even if he can't play defensive tackle, defensive line. I mean, he doesn't look incredibly humongous like you'd think a defensive tackle would. He kind of looks like he's built like a tight end or an inside linebacker, maybe a really big safety. So it's interesting to see that he's going to go for defensive tackle because he's not very big again, but he is very big because he is a 300-pound man, but with 6% body fat, 6 to 11%, depending on the article. Some said 6%, some said 11%. 11% seems more believable, but regardless of that fact, he is a very, very strong, very, very built defensive tackle, one that we haven't seen, not one that has a ton of fat mass, but rather a lot of muscle mass. 300 pounds of muscle. That man may be the strongest player in the entire NFL. Love to see what he'd have on a bench press, but I would absolutely love to go get Uar. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, Uar Bernard. But there is one more guy that is being mentioned in that Denver Post article, and that's going to be Josh Weru. Okay, an edge rusher, another position that, the Denver Broncos could use some depth at, especially in the future if Jonathan Cooper ends up leaving and with his age or with his contract coming up eventually. He fits their, Denver Post saying that he fits their body size, body mold, and he fits that type of scheme. I think he'd be a no-brainer fit, said his trainer, and the same trainer who's been training Nick Bonitto since the All-Pro edge rusher played at Oklahoma. Yes, I see the typo that the Denver Post did. They probably should have caught that one, but it looks like the Broncos are definitely thinking about getting a guy like him, despite the fact that we have K. Robinson, Nick Bonitto, Jonathan Cooper. It doesn't hurt to get another edge rusher to develop under the wings. And again, this is a guy that played rugby in not college, in Nigeria. I believe Nigeria as well. These are both people that are coming from Nigeria, and I think that this is awesome for the Denver Broncos. Get involved in the International Pathways program. I think this is overall a huge positive because these guys are some freakish athletes, guys that could definitely make an impact if coached well enough, if they have that football mindset. And at the worst case scenario, you take them back to back with your 7th round picks at the end of the draft and they don't work out, as most 7th round picks don't work out. These would not be wasted picks. These would be picks that would be put to use right away. And again, these draft picks that the Broncos are looking at, they don't have a ton of needs. So taking a swing on a guy that's a raw, amazing athlete like Uar would be something phenomenal for the Denver Broncos that they could go get. And again, like I just said, look, they have a 2nd, a 4th, a 4th, and a 5th. They could easily go fill holes that they need with those 4 picks. The 2nd round pick, they could put on a tight end. 4th round pick, a running back. 4th round pick, a linebacker. And now you're playing with 4 other picks that, are going to be depth pieces or pieces that you think you maybe need to have just in case of an injury, like maybe a wide receiver for whatever reason, maybe another offensive lineman, or of course another defensive lineman, maybe a strong safety as well. I think that's fair, but we signed one from the Bengals, so probably not going to go strong safety in this draft. But regardless of that fact, there's no reason the Broncos shouldn't go get one or both of these players with their 7th round picks. They're projected to be very late round picks because again, they haven't played NFL football, or I shouldn't say NFL football, professional football, college, high school, no football in their lives, but these guys are raw athletes. They want to do this. They want to play this. Now, maybe I could have overstated never in their lives, but the articles that I was reading say that they haven't played downs of football, which is why they're projected to be so late, because they don't have any stats. They have no sacks. They have no tackles. Not sure how much they know in terms of the form and whatnot, but their combine showed to me they need to be drafted. These guys are freakish athletes, and they both need to be players that the Denver Broncos are all in on. And I'm sure that they are thinking about it because, of course, they're visiting with these 2 players. So I'd love to see the Broncos go get these guys, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about the Broncos potentially go getting Uar Bernard or Josh Weru. Weru. Wow, I'm struggling with that, but I'd love to see these guys, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. I love reading your guys' comments. I know, hasn't played down in football. It sounds crazy, but he is a crazy athlete, and I think the Broncos should be all over it. But let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. And if you don't want to miss any Denver Broncos news, updates, draft visits, anything draft related, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, y'all, thank you so much. Broncos country, let's ride.